what I want to talk about today is how to get downloads without necessarily doing it in a traditional advertising, begging people to download my app. Okay. I want to tell you a story, a true story that has happened here. This was 2 years ago, maybe three, and it happened a couple years in a row, which was fantastic. And I know all three of you that are online today, and anybody else who might be listening, can actually adopt this and use this. This was we have a city here, Melinda, called South Milwaukee.
Okay.
South Milwaukee is a very small but intimate community. Up until recently, the only business that was really there was Caterpillar. But they are, other than that, they're pretty much what we would consider a bedroom community with some, restaurants and businesses, small town businesses. When I see South Milwaukee, I actually think of Mayberry RFD. Okay. The main street, a lot of little businesses, mom and pops, etc. So what this community does is once a year, instead of having your traditional trick or treat for kids, they have a business trick or treat scavenger hunt. And you go, all the businesses, you go business to business to business, collecting they used to do this with paper, that they would collect a stamp on a piece of paper, and then they were put into a drawing at the end. And each business would give the kids a treat. They would bring mom and dad in. So, think about it. The parents are going around into the hardware store, and then they stop at one of the restaurants, and they stop at the gift shop. They stop at the gaming store. And so from a marketing view, it's very, very intelligent for this downtown to get people into the stores that normally wouldn't go, right? So they were doing this with paper. And then they would collect the paper, and hopefully the parents would get it in time. It was only during a certain hours during the Halloween week. And hopefully the parents would get it in. Hopefully you could read the paper. Hopefully, and each of the businesses donated something for drawings. So we had a guy who had a t-shirt business. Now he's since he actually has been bought out. So he doesn't have his app anymore. So I can't even show it to you. But he has a t-shirt business and just online apparel. He donated the tabs in his app for the scavenger hunt. So instead of having them fill out a piece of paper, they walked into each location and scanned a QR code that said that they were there. And then at the end, it was automatically submitted electronically, and one for each kid. You were able to do this for as many kids as you had, so it wasn't just per family. And it was then submitted electronically. So what he did is he got 400 downloads of his ideal client. Think about that. Every family buys t-shirts for their kids. And he looked like the hero. It didn't really cost him anything but a little bit of time to be able to set those tabs up. And he donated it. He was actually given a station in one of the locations, the bakery that was there. They ended up letting him put his stuff. They set up a table, and as families came around to the bakery, they also got to see his stuff. And it's really kind of a clever way to get ideal downloads. Now, not everybody is going to do this with trick or treat. And yeah, some of the downloads had left, but he actually did it 3 years in a row, I think, not just two. And by the third year, parents were looking for it. They wanted to know, where is his app, because I want to participate in this. And so he got that. Now, think about each of your own businesses and how you might be able to do that. Melinda, there are sports shows. There's fishing, sports and fishermen shows are here that you can go to them and say, what if we give you a couple of tabs and you can then have people can navigate. You don't even have to make it a game. You don't have to turn it into scanning QR codes, but you could. But the idea is to have all the businesses listed there, and the people would then your ideal audience is going to download. Stacy, same thing with yours. Your ideal audience is, some kind of a kid fair or a job fair or a family type thing. And Tammy, yours is your business fairs. When places like the Business Journal might offer a fair, that they have that where here's information about it. And then as soon as the thing is done and everybody has it, you can take those tabs down. You just make them inactive. That's all he did. He made them inactive. The following year, it was very easy to resurrect. He didn't have to actually delete them. But Tammy, I'm also thinking the donations for when the Kiwanis and some of these other groups that Julie's active in, when they hold things, it might be a way, because you want to target business people. I know you do individual, everybody does their own taxes, but primarily with all the other services you have, your ideal client is a business, whether that's small, medium, or even large. You can handle all the gamuts of it. You're very large accounting. They're a large accounting firm with the hometown feel, really. I mean, you get that personal touch with them. And so, which is very unique. It's not like you're trying to work with a very large company, yet you are. So the resources are endless. So give me some ideas. What do you guys think of that concept?
I think it's genius.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for us, finding something like that probably isn't going to, it's my doctor, but yeah, I think it's good. It's something to keep in mind. I'm just going to put you on mute.
Yep. Do your thing. Even, believe it or not, going to schools when they have their school carnival fairs, or church organizations when they have their different carnivals and stuff. If people want to learn about the different things, I mean, I don't know what's going to come back around with COVID. I don't think any of that stuff is going on this year, but it
do you
definitely.
think the orientation, do you think they would let me do it, or do you think that would be? I have to do permission probably from the school superintendent. I would think, right?
Yeah, and I don't know about the orientation part, but working with like a PTO or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Back in my day, it was PTAs.
No.
Yeah. Now I don't know what they're called.
Okay.
And to work with those. Melinda, you don't even have to stay just in your region.
Right.
They have sports shows all over. And to be able to donate that, where people can find out who the speakers are, and maybe a booth layout so people can see the map and have it right there on their phone. We really do need to capitalize on the COVID. Right now I'm working on a project where we are going to have touchless menus. And it's literally taking anybody who has a menu, primarily a restaurant, and you can go in and scan a QR code, and the restaurant, their menu will pop up on your phone.
Oh, I've actually been in some restaurants like that a while ago. So interesting. I never thought about it, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and this came about because of my own personal experience, where when we went out and everybody was nice and COVID friendly and everything, silverware was wrapped, servers wore masks, it was nice distance. Then they handed us a menu that was wet.
Weird.
And
oh, wow.
That it was wiped down.
Yeah.
But right?
Yeah, just left that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we developed this. Everybody has their phones, right? So you can very easily scan this. Same thing when you go now to, say, an event of one form or another. Everybody has their devices. Instead of handing them a paper map of the area, you can just scan the codes. So that's one way to kind of capitalize it. And Tammy, in yours, there's so many different ones that could happen with. For example, there's some people just within the chamber that have these events. Mark Shanahan is one person I'm thinking of right offhand, where he has a business event every year and he has like 100 people at it. It would just be perfect to say, hey, why don't you have the people use our app to be able to learn about you'll list the speakers, you'll list the times, you'll list everything. And that saves him on some things, you know, for people to go into the different stuff. And you're going to get 100 downloads of people who are in your ideal market.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and donating it is the way you're going to get their attention, right? So these are things that are very easy and simple to do. Not every app can have that. I know, for example, Jasper's app that she currently has, she won't be able to do that because it's just not conducive for that. But for those people who are a marketing app, one to get people to use your product, to see what you're doing, and have that capability of expansion within your app, of just adding the tabs, it's a brilliant way to do things.
Yeah.
And like everything, this came out of the birth of the mother of need. So I know of all towns, and for those of you who are around here, you know what South Milwaukee is. It truly, I think I've described it very well, that it's Mayberry RFD, you know, straight out of the box. But the mayor that's there is so innovative. And that's where it came about.
Oh.
So happy to brainstorm on other places. But that's one way to get people to share your app. Yeah. So
Right.
the other thing that I wanted to touch on is whether your app is live already or if you're working on it, start places for you to get active online so that you can start to be seen. And they're basically app forums is what it is, where you can start to comment. You don't always want to say posting back to me. It's whenever you're promoting something, it's always social etiquette. You don't always want to lead with buy my product, buy my product, buy my product, right? You can actually be seen more by making comments on people's postings and different ways. So that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit more. But the other thing I wanted to touch on today is after you've worked with some of these companies, there are ways to get some in-app advertising that, again, do not look like the mob apps. The mob apps, those are the ones that are your apps that when you tap on it, it takes you out. So like if you're reading an article that was posted and all of a sudden right in the middle, you think that that's where it says click here to go to the next, but it's not. And you've tapped on it. Now you've been taken out to some new weight loss promotion that's, you know, drink this like the sharks do. And you know, it's all false advertising, but it's taken you away from it. Not that kind of advertising. You can get people to help sponsor your app with background ads and other things. Like we have one person right now, it's a auto repair shop. Jerry's Auto Service. He actually has Michelin paying him to be on his app. You know, now we're talking in a cost factor. And so Michelin gives him X amount of dollars a year. And Michelin, in this case, because of the amount that they're giving him, they have a complete tab about their tires. But he also has some background ads. And all they are is just the background image of the Michelin man in this case. And when clients open up the app, that's what they see. Well, it's on target. It's exact, you know, it's his audience and he sells the product, right? You guys can do the exact same thing and you can have different ones throughout. We have a local bar here that has a deal with Jack Daniels. And throughout the app, he has different Jack Daniels on the background. Here's the key. Here, when you're talking to these people, it's called co-op dollars. A lot of businesses don't know that co-op dollars exist. And it's basically, they won't give you, typically they won't give you the entire amount. However, they will give you something. But these are just ways to get the app downloaded into other people's hands without doing advertising, postings, nothing. The other thing that happens is like the sports shows, they will advertise it for you. download this app to learn more. I mean, how powerful is that? Same thing with you, Stacy, you know, in a newsletter to schools, download the app to learn more. And in your case too, getting teachers to say, hey, there's a resource here for you. Hers is all about surviving society, how to, how to get a loan, what does credit mean, how to balance a checkbook, etc. And Stacy, you could get some serious people to support, without a doubt, you know, bankers and other financial people, etc. But what's really nice is that when you do work with these organizations to help them grow, you're not going to get money from them directly, but what you're going to get is your advertising budget. You're going to get that support. I mean, you guys will download an app because I told you that it's really good versus like the one, for example, is Really Linked. If you guys have not downloaded, I know I've said it many times before, it is one of the best networking apps. It's a free app. It will help immensely to keep track of your networking people. It is not a CRM. It is just to stay in contact with people, Really Linked. And you would download that because I said it, more so than if Really Linked sent you an email, because there's no credibility to it.
Right.
So by supporting that that is one area that, you know, getting to those organizations to be able to say, hey, yep, let's download this app. And they're getting something from it. Oh, you know, you want to do donations? Here's an app that you can go to do donations with. So those are just, you know, some ideas. And you're right, going to where people are at. Picking your social is so important. I know we've talked about it before, but focusing on a few social versus focusing on every social, you know, the jack of all trades, master of none, that really, that does apply to social. You want to be the master of one or two. You know, if LinkedIn is it, everybody still needs to be on Facebook. I get that. Not a fan, don't like some of the stuff that's going on. It's been very noisy on Facebook, but that's just the way that it goes. You know, it's still a viable way. I don't like the fact that when I search for something, like I was searching for a birthday gift for my husband, and all of a sudden all these things are popping up in my news feed because I was on Amazon looking for something for our wicker furniture.
It happens all the
That's
time.
what I was saying. It's this privacy thing is like on this other route now, and that's one of them. Like you say something, it's all over your feed. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's just,
So
it's
privacy.
awful. It's definitely. And that's why all of the apps, you know, I don't encourage people to even make their apps, to pay for their apps. Sell your product within, you know, get your money other ways, because you don't want to be selling your list. You don't want to be sharing people's information. That's how you build a good rapport with your clients, is that they know that your stuff is secure and that it's not going anywhere. So that's what's really, really important.